This is Sunset News, your daily evening news show on network television. As always, we have news, stories from the community, economic indicators, weather forecast, and sports. I am Aina Raiza Kweom. In the news tonight, the Namibian President, Dr. Hage Geingob, and the Minister of Health and Social Security, Kalumbi Shangula, this morning presented an update to the Namibian public. The President is concerned by the substantial increase of new patients when comparing the current trend of infections with the trend of a month ago. While both of these top Namibian officials accept that the oncome of winter is likely to be the cause, they do appeal to all Namibians to be cautious, hold a distance to people, and wear their mask. Even though the wearing of mask is not a legal requirement right now, the President insisted that shops should not allow customers to enter if they do not wear a mask. In the meantime, NMH has been able to confirm that currently the Trusted Travel System, which is essentially an African Union initiative, has not yet been integrated with the European Digital COVID Certificate. Namibians wanting to visit European countries would be advised to find out what the requirements are of the countries they plan on visiting before departing from Namibia. Some of these countries do accept the TTS COVID certificate. Let's have a look at this short video clip.
I do, however, wish to draw your attention to what I can describe to be a relaxed and worrisome attitude to the wearing of face masks in public areas and large indoor settings. To be clear, the public is expected to apply sound personal judgment and is therefore required to wear face masks in all public areas. As our first line of defense in the fight against COVID-19, owners of businesses or business establishments should insist on the correct wearing of face masks as a condition to entry, or even asking for vaccine passport. Let's be serious about these issues. It's your own health we're talking about. We have to now remind you, like children, it's your own health.
The number of people permitted at gathering remain unchanged at 1,000. However, I wish to stress the importance of maintaining physical distances and wearing of masks. When it comes to the wearing of the mask, His Excellency the President have amplified this point correctly and clearly. Although it is no longer a requirement of the law to wear a face mask, the wearing of mask is one of our critical interventions in preventing the transmission of infection. It is strongly recommended that people continue to wear face masks at public places and all public gatherings, including businesses, workplaces, on airplanes, at schools, public and private institutions. We cannot emphasize this point more than enough. The combination of wearing of face mask, maintenance of physical distance, practicing personal hygiene, and vaccinations greatly reduce the risk of infections.
Let's continue with more news right here on Sunset. Hands off our mayor as she is trying her level best to clean Grootfontein once and for all. This was the key message members of the Grootfontein community who marched this morning in solidarity of their mayor Talita Garrises, whom they say are under siege or for only performing her duties in terms of the act. The town has been in the news a lot lately, especially on accounts of alleged corruption amongst its officials and political infightings. We are here today to assure our mayor that the community of Grootfontein is fully supporting her, and we trust she will uproot corruption, maladministration, nepotism, favoritism, and tribalism, which are practiced by some others at these institutions, the petition said. The acting CEO, Ms. Ceres Hangara, accepted the petition and promised the community a reaction on their concerns after the next council meeting. Here is a short video clip. In our next story, as the SWAPO Congress nears and calls intensify about potential candidates for the position of Vice President and eventually the party's candidate in the 2024 election, only two names are continuing to enjoy the limelight. Current party Vice President Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah, who this week cheekily admitted she is in the running, and Prime Minister Sarah Kugongerwa Amadira. Originally, two more names, that of the Defense Minister Franz Kapofi and his environmental counterpart Pwamba Shifeta, were in the mix. For Kapofi, the so-called helmet amendments that require presidential candidates to have served in the Central Committee of Politburo for 10 consecutive years seems to be a stumbling block. Shifeta remains a popular figure in the party if his recent firing in the Central Committee elections are anything to go by, but his name has been lost in the woman president narrative. In our next story, a Test native shot to national notoriety recently after it was revealed that he had allegedly stolen millions of insurance company money he had used to bankroll a popular entertainment spot at the village. Owner of Sepiso Entertainment Lodge, Veron Kamkhab, made his court appearance in Windhoek High Court on the 11th of April on charges of fraud after reportedly embezzling 18 million from Holland Insurance Namibia, and was released on a 20,000 Namibian dollar bail. Before his crime was detected, however, Vernon lived it up with the grand opening of the lodge at the end of January, which saw people traveling from as far as the capital and Noordhoever to attend the most talked about show at the time. In our next story, Lucia Ipumbu, the Minister of Industrialization and Trade, this morning officiated at the launch of the European Union Twinning Project that will see the EU support Namibian Standard Institute and the MIT with the aims of specifically rendering support in areas of standardization and certificates in trade and industry. MIT had launched the revised National Quality Policy on the 23rd of April 2021 and plans to finally implement it. The main objective of the policy is to improve the quality of products and services, and in doing so ensure that products traded and manufactured by local enterprises are in compliance with a set of standards, and that all imports are subjected and quality compliance test. The idea is that Namibian products and services also meet international standards. Now, in our community talk tonight, we talk about the Women in Media conference that will be taking place tomorrow.
Go far with Paratus. Go further with Paratus Fiber. Paratus, offering high-speed, reliable fiber connectivity, starting from only $599 Namibian dollars per month. Unlimit your lifestyle and visit na.paratus.africa for more information.
Always prepared. Paratus.
Welcome back to Sunset News, and now we bring you Community Talk. Alike in so many ways is the theme of the second Women in Namibia conference taking place tomorrow. Cherin Hoff has more.
The second Women in Media conference, themed alike in so many ways, will be held on Saturday in Windhoek, with the goal of building a strong network among Namibian women working in the media and corporate sectors. The conference goal is to help women in media gain more access to representation, content, and opportunities in the industry. Ahead of the conference, organizer Limba Mupatami said that the second edition is very different from the first because they have included women from the corporate sector as well. She encouraged participants to talk about these challenges and figure out how women can help each other to succeed in these two industries. She added that some of the key points to be discussed at the conference focus on creating a positive work environment for women in media, and that young women entering the industry should feel comfortable reaching out if they require assistance or guidance on how to approach sources. They also should be able to approach experts in the same field without fear of rejection. The keynote speaker is renowned journalist and editor Gwen Lister. Manisha Monjo, Chief News and Programming Officer of the Namibian Broadcasting Corporation, Paulina Elagu, Secretary of the Southern African Customs Union Secretariat, veteran journalist Nomle Kangotui, and Sama Kaulinge, Manager of Communications and Public Relations at Nedbank Namibia, are among the other speakers.
In an effort to boost local power supply, the Development Bank of Namibia has undertaken to finance a new solar power plant in the Namib to the tune of 193 million Namibian dollars.
The Development Bank of Namibia signed an agreement to provide 193 million Namibian dollars to finance a new solar power generation plant near the Khan substation in the Namib Desert. The plant will feed 20 megawatts into NamPower's Khan substation, from where it will be distributed to households and industrial consumers. Alpha Namibia Industries Renewable Power Limited, or ANIREP, was the recipient of a 25-year tender to produce power for NamPower. The new solar plant, 40 kilometers from Isakos, will be developed by Hopsal Africa, also a local company. With regards to the importance of solar power for Namibia, DBN Head of Marketing and Corporate Communication, Jerome Matumba, said that according to the National Statistics Agency figures for February 2022, local production of electricity stood at 53,362 megawatt hours, but that imports from the Southern African power pool stood at 255,286 megawatt hours. He said that these figures are a snapshot of the current need to substitute imports. Viewed over the short, medium and long term, local generation will be highly variable due to the fact that Namibia's largest power generation facility, Ruacana Hydroelectrical Power Station, is dependent on fluctuating levels of the Kunene River. He illustrated the impact thereof by saying that in July 2021, power production from Ruacana fell by 87.5%, a decline that not only points to developing local power generation, but also to the need for stable sources of generation such as solar. He said that the fluctuation in electricity generation leads to fluctuations in costs, which have an impact on Namibia's deficit.
In our story of the day, we talk about a demonstration that took place at Chinatown today. Thank you for watching Sunset News this evening. A demonstration at Chinatown in Windhoek's Northern Industry ended in tear gas and rubber bullets being shot. Yolanda Nell reports.
Chaos erupted at Chinatown on Friday morning after the police force threw tear gas to break up a demonstration organized and led by Michael Amushalelu, Commissar for Economic Development for Namibia Economic Freedom Fighters. Amushalelu said that he is committed to fighting for our people and that no amount of intimidation from the corrupt regime will scare him. He said it is a clear fact that Namibia is the Republic of China and he calls on the closure of Chinatown. Namibian Sun reporter Jemima Beekes reported from the scene that workers are upset, saying they are working for between $500 and $800 Namibian a month with no benefits. According to one, they don't get off days or sick leave, and if they don't work due to being sick, $200 Namibian per day gets deducted.
We are still here at the Chinatown, what is known as Chinatown, and what we are going to create a new name for it tomorrow. We are still strategizing, we're thinking about what name we are going to put it and what name we are going to give it. You realize that all of us are now combat ready. All of us are prepared to be here tomorrow. All of us are prepared to make sure that we put a final nail in this whole, what is this Chinese brutality of our people. We know exactly how the Chinese ship in these things in this country. We know exactly that they don't pay tax, they pay bribes. Every day you read in the paper that custom officials are bribed and they are in prison because of this type of situation that is happening. We know exactly that our brothers and sisters who are ordering from outside the country, they come and they pay taxes at the airport because there are things that come through the airport. They pay the taxes, they empower the shipping lines, they empower young people who are in these logistical businesses to ensure that they put bread on the table. Now we are simply saying that we are taking that bread out of these people's mouth, and we must as a country stand for this type of nonsense that is happening. $1 million worth of goods, they've already made us poor. What more can they take from us? So we will not relent, not even make a mistake to take from us on the promise and on the aspirations of our people. We thank you for supporting Chinese who don't pay tax, Chinese who don't do anything. We cannot invest us in our own places of operation. We cannot invest us in the and adopt paying tax. People who are not tax compliant, but yet we want to.
In economic news, after the break, we look at the new vehicle sales in Namibia, and as always, we visit major economic indicators. Stay with us. Happy Friday. Let's have a look at our economic news. A total of 905 new vehicles were sold in April, a 14.1% month-on-month contraction, but an increase of 19.9% year-on-year from 755 vehicles sold in April 2022. Toyota dominated the new market in terms of new vehicle sales market share. Toyota had 41.5% market share, Volkswagen 13.5%, both Ford and Kia 6%, and both Suzuki and Nissan 5.9%. These six brands accounted for 78.8% of the total vehicle sale during April 2022. Coming up next, economic indicators. The Namibian dollar is up against most major currencies and trades at 16.12 to the US and 19.67 to the British pound. It is unchanged against the Chinese yuan. On the commodities market, gold, zinc up, copper is down, and zinc Brent crude oil is unchanged. Brent crude oil trades at 109.24 cents. Now, after the break, we look at the international news as we look at an Al Jazeera journalist that has been killed.
Adam Tas is coming to Windhoek to help build a brighter future for education. Join us at the Sounds of Caring concert at Windhoek High School Vegkop on 20 and 21 May, where he will be performing with Von Arends and Rian Smith. Tickets cost $200 Namibian and are available via eticket.my.na. All proceeds go towards the African Child Development Trust.
Thank you for watching Sunset News, and here is international news. The UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres says he is appalled by Wednesday's killing of veteran Palestinian-American Al Jazeera journalist Shireen Abu Akleh. He also called for an independent investigation into her death. Abu Akleh, who was 51, died while covering a raid by Israeli forces in the occupied West Bank. Her producer was injured. Al Jazeera said Israeli troops deliberately shot her. Israeli Prime Minister said it was likely she was shot by the Palestinian gunmen. When we return from the break, we bring you weather for the weekend.
Go far with Paratus. Go further with Paratus Fiber. Paratus, offering high-speed, reliable fiber connectivity, starting from only 599 Namibian dollars per month. Unlimit your lifestyle and visit na.paratus.africa for more information.
Always prepared. Paratus.
We are bringing you the news making headlines across Namibia right here on Sunset News. But now let's get into the weather predictions for the weekend. On Saturday, the coolest place in the north will be Omaruru and Rundu at 9 degrees this morning, while the hottest place will be Enana at 37 degrees. The coast will be cloudy and vary between 12 and 20 degrees. Rehoboth and Aramsvlei will be the coldest at 6 degrees. And now let's have a look at Sunday's predictions. On Sunday, the temperature will generally be a little higher, with Katima at 11 degrees, the coolest, and Enana 37 degrees, the highest. It stays cloudy in the central west. Rehoboth at 9 degrees will be the coldest in the south, and Mariental at 31 degrees will be the hottest. Now, in the sports section tonight, after the break, we take a look at cricket and football. Thank you for staying with Sunset News. Now let's have a look at our sports stories. The Namibian Eagles will set up their preparations for the T20 World Cup when they leave for Bulawayo tomorrow for a 5-match international series against Zimbabwe. National coach Pierre de Bryan says they are taking the series seriously. In our next story, Namibia head coach Bobby Samaria believes accomplished Mamelodi Sundowns star striker Peter Shalulile should jump at the opportunity to test himself against the best players in the world. The 52-year-old Gaffers has urged Brave Warriors captain to leave the Tshwane Giant if he received a lucrative offer from Europe. Now, after the break, we'll bring you highlights in case you miss any of our top stories this evening. Stay with us. Let's have a look at tonight's highlights in case you missed any of our top stories. The Namibian President Dr. Hage Geingob and the Minister of Health, Social Security, Kalumbi Shangula, this morning presented an update of COVID-19 to the public. Now, in our next story, hands off our mayor as she is trying her level best to clean the Grootfontein for once and all. This was the key message members of the Grootfontein community who marched this morning in solidarity of their mayor Talita Garises, whom they say are under siege for only performing her duties in terms of the act. In our next story, as the SWAPO Congress nears and calls intensify about presidential candidate for the position of vice president and eventually the party's candidate in the 2024 election, only 2 names continue to enjoy the limelight. Currently, party vice president Naitumbo Nandi Ndaitwa, who this week cheekily admitted that she is running for president, and Prime Minister Sarah Kugongerwa Amadira. And with that, we've come to the end of tonight's broadcast. Make sure you join Sunset News on Facebook, on all NMH's platforms on weekdays, as well as on our website, which is called OneUp2. Sunset screens on DSTV channel 285 and GoTV channel 94 every weekday from 7:30 p.m. From 7:30 p.m. yes, to 8 p.m. I am Aina Kweyo, and this has been Sunset News, and don't end your day without us. Good night.